Welcome everybody to the regular school board meeting for the Murray City School District Board of Education. We would like to begin with a Pledge of Allegiance, and Murray High School representatives will be leading us in that Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you. First of all, we will begin with our recognitions. We will start with Kelly Kirchner, who will recognize Bert Wilson.
Thank you. I'd like to have Roberta Burt Wilson come on up here. And we did this last month because Murray is so awesome. We actually had 2 award winners from the Utah Council for Exceptional Children. And just as a reminder for those who weren't here last month, Utah Council for Exceptional Children is the largest international professional organization dedicated to improving the educational success of children and youth with disabilities and/or gifts and talents. CEC advocates for appropriate governmental policies, sets professional standards, provides professional development, and helps professionals obtain conditions and resources necessary for effective professional practice. CEC is known as the source for information, resources, and professional development for special educators. The Utah Council for Exceptional Children is a state unit under the International Council for Exceptional Children. And we actually have the president of the Utah CEC is in our district, Mallory Poole, who works at Beaumont. She's here to support Bert today. She's right here. So I'd like to recognize Roberta Burt Wilson. She was nominated for and won the 2020 Utah Paraeducator of the Year Award. This award is given to a paraeducator who provides direct service to children, demonstrates a sustained interest in the field, made an outstanding contribution, has made substantial contributions to the field. She was awarded the Utah CEC Marilyn Likens Paraeducator of the Year via a Zoom award ceremony on March 12th. And later, Liberty Elementary did a school assembly where she was also honored and presented the actual award by our Utah CEC president and president-elect. Came out to award that to her in assembly where all of her students and colleagues can see her. Here's a little bit about what her nominators said about her. Bert is a skilled paraprofessional dedicated to supporting students with disabilities in acquiring skills, knowledge, and values to become college, career, and life ready. For the last 5 school years, she has been a valuable team player supporting IEP plans and school-wide expectations as needed. All students love her and are drawn to her smile. Her greatest role has been as an inclusion para for a student with Down syndrome. As a mother to an exceptional child herself, Bert extends compassion while encouraging independence and setting high expectations for students. She's flexible and reliable. Bert often takes initiative to assist without being asked. From bathroom support to recess supervision, Ms. Bert does it all. This year, she also participated in STAR training and has taken the lead to run this program with several of our students. She is open to feedback and participates in STAR coaching in order to perfect her teaching skills. We are so lucky to have Ms. Wilson on our team. And this was from last year, of course, we told you that we're a year behind because of COVID. I would like to say, in addition to that, she took on a lead role with some of our students who were not able to come to school due to COVID and did their Zoom instruction with them. And if you ever get the privilege, maybe she'll post some of them, but she makes videos where she reads books, but she also dresses in character. So it's amazing, and she adapts the materials and does an excellent job with these children during Zoom sessions. So thank you, Bert. Congratulations again. You're welcome to take a few minutes.
Thank you. Wow, this is like out of my comfort zone, but I just want to say, first of all, thank you to the Center of Exceptional Children for choosing me, and for my nominators, who I'm still finding out about who did that, but I'm really grateful and I am deeply honored. I do have a vested interest in this. If you had asked me a few years ago, like a number of years ago, if I would ever be working in special education in a school district, it was not in my wheelhouse. And then it was. I had my beautiful son, Noah, and I didn't even think about that until a while later. And I went, I really would like to do something with provide services for kids, because as a parent, I know I'm still learning. Every day I learn from all of them what we can do or what helps them. It's funny how you learn different things and what makes this child, bloom or open up to something. And that's all I try to do. And I am supported by the best team ever. Our beautiful, lovely district, by the way, but I have to say, Lefford. But I worked in some of the other schools on a temporary basis here and there. And I love our district, and I love that we have these opportunities for our children. And I treat other people's children. I tell parents, I will always try to do the best that I can. And some days, are challenging, and some days are not, but I learn all the time. And thank you for this. And I'll stop babbling now.
Thank you very much for your time. Next one will be Teacher of the Year, presented by Assistant Superintendent Scott Kushner.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to be here this evening to recognize our 2021 Teacher of the Year in the Murray School District. And I'm going to ask John Johnston to come on up and join me, if you would, John. I was just asking John, and by the way, John reminded me that his wife taught for us at Creekside back many years ago when we had Creekside as well. And we're glad to have John, his wife, and his children here with us this evening. Thank you guys for being here. John is one of our CTE teachers at Riverview Junior High. He just completed his 25th year here with the Murray City School District. And it's almost over. It's not quite over. He hasn't quite completed. He reminds me he has 2 more weeks or 11 days or whatever the countdown is, right? So, and John may get into the details of how he got hired or not. I don't know what all he'll share with us, but let me share some things with you if I may. And I apologize, I'm going to read some things here, but I think that these things will help highlight the type of individual, the type of teacher, the type of person that John Johnston is, and how fortunate and how lucky we are to have him in our school district teaching our children. So I want to start with some information that was shared by his administration. And I'm going to ask Earl Kaufman, who's also here, his principal, I'm going to ask him to come up and share a couple of words as well regarding John. Construction Intro 1 is John's advanced course students take at Riverview. It is also a highly sought after course by Riverview Junior High students. Students gravitate towards this class because of the uplifting environment and positive relationships John builds with all his students. And I can reaffirm that every time I have had any interaction with John, it has been positive and uplifting. Every time I see him with his students, sometimes I'm kind of like, how can we pull this off? How can we do it? And John's like, no problem, we've got this. It goes on to say, kids love Mr. Johnston's ability to extract genuine passion from within and a desire to be proactive, even have a desire to create and build something meaningful in class. It is absolutely evident with our at-risk students. They want to be in the class, they're uber engaged, and are genuinely very active in completing their work. John does an incredible job integrating other subject areas within the class through introducing, for example, biology and math and art and physics. The examples were bottle rockets that they get a chance to do, and mousetrap cars and all the different things that you've done. In the advanced course, students have the autonomy to create whatever project they want. They can vary from one project to a term to 6 to 7 projects in one term. John encourages and pushes students to step outside of their comfort zone and challenge them or put forth the effort to create something extraordinary. They go on to talk about all the different projects that have been created in John's class because he allows them literally to do any project they want to take on. Creativity is highlighted and encouraged in a very effective manner. The class uplifts students that normally do not have motivation to do things in other classes. They are motivated in John's class so much, it ultimately creates good habits or a change of mindset for them that they start performing in those classes they normally wouldn't perform in. John believes that all students can learn, and in order for them to learn, all STEAM students John believes that all students are to be included, validated, and acknowledged. And that's powerful. And he believes that. I could talk about his Sub for Santa projects. I could go on and talk about all the things they wrote about how John believes in students. I've seen it, I've watched it. He's incredible what he does. Let me share this. They said that he demonstrates his philosophy of education by being kind, putting others first, serving his family and his community. In the classroom, he absolutely cares, but most importantly, he actually believes that all students are capable of amazing things. Students see Mr. Johnson as a role model and a figure that will guide them through successful times, but even more through the challenging or dark times of their lives. Mr. Johnson leads by example. His character skills and ability to connect with students set him apart. To Mr. Johnson, teaching is a lifelong service that ensures all students obtain the motivation, habits, and will they will need to be successful in all aspects of their lives. Another former administrator of yours who you know, who's now at another junior high, who sometimes he can be verbose sometimes when you talk to him, sometimes he can be real short. He said this about John. John is a great asset. He has made SHOP an extremely popular class at Riverview. And I know this because this administrator would come to me and say, do we have more CTE money so John can teach on his prep because I can't fit all the kids that want to take his class. And so you've taught him your prep, I think, for years, probably now, right? His students turn out some of the most amazing projects. He is also a team player. Anytime I needed something built for the school, John was on top of it. I truly appreciate him as a person. And I apologize, this one came about in a roundabout way, and it was very interesting how this came about. So Karen Peterson is a person that works for risk management at the state. We also have 2 other Karen Petersons that work in Murray School District. I was trying to work on a starting of a policy for SHOP tools and safety. And I sent the draft up to Karen Peterson, thinking I was sending it to Karen Peterson at the State Risk Management. And I sent it to Karen Peterson at Horizon. This is what she responded, and I was sending her the draft of this tool, how to use tools in the shop. And this is crazy how this all came about. She said, Scott, I'm assuming I'm looking at this document because my son McKay is in Mr. Johnston's woodworking class, right? So she sees this. Otherwise, I can't think of why I'd be consulted. With that said, I'm pretty open and encourage my son to have authentic woodworking experiences. I believe that the list, meaning the list of tools that I was naming in the policy, is appropriate. Not really familiar with all the tools, but I think it's necessary for responsible and interested students to have experience working with authentic tools in authentic ways. This is where it got amazing. She said, and this is John and your colleagues, Mark and Quinn, and how well you guys work together. And they did some things this spring about rearranging curriculum. And I just thought, this is a team right here. These guys are a team. This is what they said. By the time all of my boys were in 9th grade, they had several classes in woodworking. They were at Riverview with Mr. Johnston. My 3 older boys continued in high school with welding, automotive, and cabinetry, with one placing in state DECA cabinetry competitions his senior year. The exposure to the tools on this list in 8th and 9th grade propelled 2 of the boys into the JTech, which we partner with some of the technical schools around, diesel and engineering programs, and all 3 have selected careers and degrees: diesel technician, electrician, cabinetry, civil, and mechanical engineering for a kid. And without the vocational courses taken, wouldn't have been possible at such young ages. Without the ability to freely use the tools, my boys wouldn't get the skills necessary to support themselves right out of high school, which have provided them income to pay for additional schooling. I would recommend that the vocational courses, including woodworking, Murray City School District offers, would provide essential experiences and exposure to tools necessary for students so they can have an option to either choose a career right out of high school or to be able to provide income in order to pay for college. I don't have an issue with any of the tools on the list. Thanks for letting me look this over. What that told me in the roundabout way is this man made a huge difference in her kids' personal lives. They went on in this field because of John Johnston. John has been able to influence countless students because of the person that he is and the teacher he is. I can't thank John enough. And so I had to ask McKay to say something about John, that student that Karen, her son, that was named in the email way back in February when I emailed her that list. McKay said this, and I think this is the ultimate right here. These past 3 years, I have loved attending Mr. Johnston's class. All 3 years, not 1 year, which I'm not 2 years, 3 years. He wants to be back with Mr. Johnston. When I'm having a stressful day with a lot of work, it's nice to be able to have a free period and just make things out of wood. Mr. Johnston is a good teacher and instructor, and I have learned many tips and tricks with him. He is also nice and funny. He is a nice and funny teacher, and is one of the many reasons I continue to take his class. Earl, if you want to come up and just share a couple words about Mr. Johnston. We're just so privileged and honored to have John with us in the Murray City School District, and we're so glad that Richard Tranter and Klain came and interviewed you and Quinn that day, and we thank you. So let me turn a minute over to Earl.
Yeah, I'll barely take a minute. So since I've been at Riverview, I started as a counselor and scheduling classes. His class, and this is why we nominate him. When I was talking to Mr. Now about, different people, he just goes, these kids just love this class. I hear him talk about it in the hall all the time. I can remember back, like I said, 17 years ago as a counselor going, there's not enough room to put all these kids in this class. And every year, I have to have him go through the list, see who's taking the prerequisites, all these different things. I probably have to drop 30, 60, sometimes 90 kids from the request list just because there's not enough room. There's so many kids that want to get in there. And he's just one of those teachers that just puts his head down, does his job, doesn't get distracted with all the other things around us, and really focuses on the kids. He's a great guy, and plus he's great to call on when you live near him, and he gives you the right words sometimes. But no, great teacher, great example of what we want in the classroom.
Earl, thank you. We're going to turn a little bit of time over to John now and let him share a few thoughts.
Also uncomfortable. I like younger people. So he's right. Quinn, we went to school together. We went to high school, junior high, and college together. We weren't best friends, but we knew each other. But Quinn came to me and said, "Hey, John, do you want to go practice interviewing?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We need to practice for where we want to really go. Murray's down there." I'm like, "Where's Murray?" And we went and practiced, and we met Clayne and Richard. And they were so impressed with us, they offered us a job right there. Actually, it was just because there was a really big shortage of teachers. But Murray's been smart. They get people early. I've seen that over and over. They made us feel good. Every administrator I've ever had is amazing and gone out of their way to make me keep my job and make me better. Anyways, the people here in Murray are amazing. I live kind of far away, like Earl says. We live in Utah County, and I will happily drive here to teach, and will do until I'm done. And I don't know when that'll be. I've got an 8-year-old, so I think it'll be a long time. But anyways, the kids here are amazing. There's a good mix of all kinds of kids. And I do this for the kids. Every time I see a job opening come up in administrative, I got my administrative degree. And I think about it for a second, I'm like, it would be done with me. So I appreciate Murray a lot. And I appreciate all the kids that I taught and all of the parents that put up with some of these little projects we do that they need to get material for. So thank you very, very much.
John will go on and participate in the Teacher of the Year state competition, and his name will be moved forward. And we look forward to seeing him do well in that competition as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we'll have the Classified Employee of the Year, and that will be presented by Dave Roberts.
So unlike the Teacher of the Year that uses $1 million worth of our resources, the classified employee actually guards our resources. We are absolutely ecstatic to present to you guys tonight Tabitha Brooks. She's the head custodian at Parks and Elementary. Come on up, Tabitha. So I want to confess to Tabitha live, and I may not ever do this again. We were allowed the opportunity to go and allowed us to come to this conference to her faculty, Tabitha, and let her know that she was chosen as the classified employee of the year. And I had the opportunity to bring flowers and balloons. And Tabitha, I want you to know, and I apologize right now, I resisted every bone in my body to let one of those balloons go all the way to the top of the lunchroom. So you would have to get the tallest ladder in the school and get it down. I resisted, even though I really, really wanted to. But anyway, we've had a lot of nominations for the Classified Employee of the Year. And I will just tell you in a very short amount of time that Tabitha has been here, she has done amazing things. So I just would like to read to you some of the comments that were noted in her nomination. It says, Tabitha is so good at her job that sometimes I swear she has magical powers. She's extremely kind and professional. She does all this and more with a smile on her face and a happy disposition. I am constantly amazed by her hard work and patience. Tabitha is committed to each and every student, staff member, and community member. She is in the lunchroom with us every day, building positive relationships with our students. They love her positive, calm attitude. Tabitha prides herself on having a school that is clean, welcoming, and community friendly. She wants the community to be proud to have Parkside in the neighborhood. And I will tell you that you will need to wear shades when you go to Parkside Elementary because it's that bright and that clean. And if she has done amazing work there, That school struggled a little bit in the past with its cleanness, and she has made it to be one of our best examples of what an inviting environment for our students and our teachers should see every day as they come to work. Tabitha has been an example to the rest of us. She comes in a small package, but I had to do this. I had to go up the straight ladder up to the roof, and I swear I was gonna die. She does that probably at least once a week to either get the heaters working or the air conditioning working. And based on the fact that she does that every week, and I had a little bit of a struggle, I can tell you she is a champ for climbing those stairs that are straight vertical up to that roof. And so she's amazing, and I've always leaned on her since I've been here, asked her about what she does, what she uses, how she does things, and even have had her train other individuals that need a little bit of professional development in that regard. So Tabitha, we are proud to have you as an employee of Murray City School District, and hopefully everybody will see your great example, continue to do the same type of work that you do. I'll turn a little bit of time over to you, and Heather, you're more than welcome to, you don't have to. I asked her if she wanted to, and she said no, but if she feels the urge, sitting back there, you're more than welcome to come up too.
I'm not much of a public speaker either. I get very shy. I just want to say thank you. I appreciate this award. It means so much to me. Thank you so much. That's all I can really say.
I'll come up and I'll say a few things. And it's daily. She's going up that thing. And it was yesterday in the hallway, and I see her and she's walking down like this. I was like, what is going on? Oh, I just had a swamp cooler explode all over me, and she's covered from head to toe. But she just still maintains and continues every day with the great spirit that she has, and makes Parkside a great place to be. And I've appreciated in the year getting to know her. My building is awesome. It's the best around. I can say that. It's clean. I don't ever have to get after anybody. She works her staff and is always there for our students, number one. In the lunchroom, patting them, cleaning up after them, opening their milk, and they don't want me anymore. It's Miss Tabitha who they want coming. And all I have to say to them is keep your hands off the walls, because you're making more work for Miss Tabitha to come and sanitize, and they're back in their line straight because they appreciate everything that you do, and I appreciate you as a person as well. So congratulations on this award.
Thank you for, first of all, Berta, John, and Eva, I wanted to say thank you, and personally say that you are the example of why Murray City School District is so successful. It's people like you who come with a passion and a desire to make a difference, that we do make a difference for our students. Thank you. We will now proceed with our retirees for the 2021 school year. And we'll turn the time over to Superintendent Jennifer Covington.
Thank you, Board President Cooper. So we are so excited. We have 5 of our retirees with us this evening. And prior to me having the opportunity to recognize each of them individually, we wanted to show a video tribute to each of them. And we appreciate Doug Perry from our district office putting this together. Board of Education is like fun and because I like our full update. My pleasure. Did I think a video still running? Hold on.
I've been really looking forward to
I'm not
this
sure what
presentation.
that is, but we'll just close it out completely.
Yeah, it just
Okay, done. I'm not sure what that was, something on YouTube, so. All right, so it is my pleasure this evening to be able to recognize 5 of our 2021 retirees. I am going to invite each of them to come up here with me. I'm going to say a few remarks about them, give them an opportunity to address you as the board. And then we have a retirement gift for each of our employees. We have a clock in the shape of an apple that has an engraved base with your total years of service to education. So some of you have had years outside of Murray District, and we have put those on there as well. We also have a gift card for each of you in recognition for the years of service that you have done with Murray School District. So I'd like to begin by inviting Mark Pope. Hi, Mark. And I want to recognize his wife Tamara is with us this evening, and so thank you for being here. We know that for all of our retirees this evening, their family, their spouses, their support system play a very large role in what they do for education. Mark was hired at Hillcrest Junior High School in 1993, and he has 28 years of teaching in the Murray City School District. He has a total of 39 years in education. Mark has taught German and social studies, and I had the privilege of being able to work with Mark as his administrator for 13 years at Hillcrest Junior High School. So, Mark, we want to say to you how much we appreciate all of your years and the things that you have done for students, and recognize you this evening as you get ready to retire in 11 days, and say thank you for all that you've done for us. So, I'll give you a moment to address the board.
The problem with these masks is they get caught on my hearing aids. I didn't have hearing aids when I started in Murray. I'm old school. I was hired by Dee Jensen. And for many here, they don't know what that means. When I was a boy in junior high, the prominent disciplinary activity that happened for kids that were misbehaving or talking out of turn, which was my mantra at the time, was the Board of Education. And we had to bend over and get swatted. And I find it infinitely pleasing over the last years that the Board of Education has paid me to talk. And I share that with my students. Very special to me. The partnership runs deep and long. I was first attracted to Murray because a friend of mine that worked at the State Board of Education when I was coming back to Utah. He said, "Where do you want to work?" And I said, "I don't have a clue, but this is what I want in the district." And after I got a visit, he said that narrows it to 2. And Murray was one of those 2. One of the things that attracted me from the beginning is I could walk in the district office and be called by name. They knew who I was. And yet we're on the Wasatch Front, so we have great professionalism in our district. I've grown a lot. This time of year, every year, I'm making plans for the next year and the changes in my curriculum, and it's been really hard. How do I do that now? It's like it's not going to be here. So I started writing down reminiscences of little one-liner statements that I have learned as a teacher. And I won't share it or publish with anybody because it's 4 pages long, and I'm not done. You can't teach without learning. You can't work with kids and rub shoulders with them without becoming a better person. I'd like to go on record and say one other thing about our superintendent. She was my principal when my wife was diagnosed with cancer. I cannot tell you how many times when my heart was heavy laden that I could go down and just talk. Her door was always open to me. When my wife passed away, she and Scott, Mahoney, the assistant principal, came over to my home and just sat with me. I don't know how long. It feels like it was 2 hours. Maybe it was only 20 minutes, but it felt like a long time. And I felt like I was valued. She had a program set up so that if I got the call, I could leave the building and all monitor be in my classroom within 3 minutes. And that's exactly what happened the week after school started. I love Mrs. Covington. She's that kind of a caring person. Of course, I met Tamara shortly, not too shortly, but after my wife passed away, and we've been married almost 9 years. And she's worked at Hillcrest in the foods area. It's been a wonderful privilege to see my wife at work. My mantra for my whole career has been that my students next year will get a better teacher than the ones I had last year. And I don't know what else to say, but thank you. And thank you, all of you.
You gotta come back, Mark. You gotta get your party, not your party gift, but your gift. So, Mark, on behalf of the Murray City Board of Education and Murray City School District, Board Member Johnson would like to present you with this gift.
Here's in my. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
I hope the clock is as pretty as the bow.
Thank you, Mark, and again, thank you, Tamara. Next, I'd like to invite Steve Scheidel up to be recognized. And we'd like to thank his wife, Renee, for being here with this evening, and also thank his family for the years of support he has given. They have given him as he has been in education. Steve was hired at Murray High School in 1993. And Steve actually had a long career in a different field prior to coming into the teaching profession. He's been with Murray City School District for 28 years. His entire time has been at Murray High School, and he has been a science teacher. Steve was instrumental in bringing the biotechnology program to Murray High School, which has benefited so many of our students. And just a quick story, when we were doing our COVID vaccination, or excuse me, our COVID testing here in January, one of the young men who was a member of the National Guard came up to me and he said, "Do you know Mr. Scheidel?" I said, "I do know Mr. Scheidel." And he said, "He was my teacher. I went to Murray High and I had a hard time. School was hard for me. I didn't want to come. I didn't feel like anybody really knew me or cared about me. But then I met Mr. Scheidel and he changed that for me." And he says, "I am a member of the National Guard. I am successful." And it was because of what Mr. Scheidel did. So Steve, for your 28 years in education, we thank you, and for all the lives that you have touched. We'd love to give you the opportunity to address the board.
Wow. I gotta tell you, I'm grateful that 28 years ago that Richard Tranter took a chance on a crusty cop that decided to change careers. It's been an honor to work in Murray. What a wonderful place to work as a teacher. Everybody talks about greener grass. This is the greenest grass. And it's remained that way throughout my career. I look at you and I teach some of your kids. I taught your kids. And I appreciate you entrusting me with your education. I appreciate the support that I've had through the years. We've built the biotechnology program. It's expensive. And my sugar mama, Miracle, the support that you gave all the CTE teachers was incredible. And it lifted Murray, the rest of the state. Thank you. This year has been tough, but I gotta tell you what made a difference. You guys. I wouldn't have made it if it wasn't for you. And you should feel honored for the job you've done, for the support you've given us, for the little perks you've thrown us. You look around the state and you look around the country and the problems that they have right now with education, and it's absent here. And as I talk to teachers, especially at the beginning of the year, we talked about how much we appreciate what you did for us. You made a difference. You made a difference for your teachers. You kept the morale up, and that helped the kids through this tough time. So thank you. It's been a great place to work. I am gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss the kids. I took down my last lab today, and it was it was bittersweet. So yes, I look forward to fishing, but I'm going to be missing the labs. So thank you. Please keep up the good work. You guys are incredible.
Thank you, Steve. On behalf of the Murray City School Board of Education, as well as the Murray City School District, Board Member Merrill has a gift for you to recognize you for your 20 years. Next, I would like to invite Jill Spracklin up to be with me. And I am so excited. I just got to know Jill. It was fantastic. I popped into the high school the other day and she was so happy and so pleasant. So thank you, because sometimes that can be a little overwhelming, I know. And we want to thank her husband, Frank, who is here with her this evening. Jill was hired in 2005 and has served in the Murray City School District for 16 years in the child nutrition program. And she's worked at Murray High School. And each year, David Trujillo and I go around and take pies or a Christmas treat to each of our child nutrition program workers. And she is always so kind and just has this happy demeanor. And so, Jill, we want to thank you for being with us for 16 years. And thank you for all that you have done for us. And I would like to give you an opportunity to address the board.
I'm definitely not a speaker. So I just want to say this job has been perfect for me while I was raising my kids and after. And it has been a great place to work. So anyway, I thank you. That's good.
So Jill, on behalf of the Murray School District Board of Education and Murray City School District, Board Member Kane has a gift for you to recognize you for your 16 years. Great, thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Janet Wayman to join me. And we would like to thank her daughters, Allison and Grace, who are here this evening with her as we recognize her. Janet was hired in 1985 at Riverview. I am not going to tell you what year in school I was when I was hired. She has taught for the Murray City School District for 36 years, and she has a total of 39 years in education. She has been a family and consumer science teacher, and in the world of CTE and in the world of family and consumer science, things change and adapt, and you've constantly got to be kind of changing to the new courses that come on, and I know Janet has done that. She has worked at both Riverview and at Murray High most recently, and we appreciate Janet. I know she does amazing things, and as you saw on the video tribute, she was known as the Dutch oven queen at Riverview. And I remember, I didn't know anything about it, but as I came to Murray a few years after she started, that all these kids would leave. And I'm like, where are they all going? And they're like, oh, it's the Riverview Dutch oven. And I was like, I don't know what that is. But finally, one year I went, and it's amazing. So, Janet, we thank you for the 36 years you have spent with us and for your dedication for 39 years to the students. And I would love to give you an opportunity to address the board.
I'm very grateful that I've been able to work for Murray School District for 36 years. I was hired by Stan Mackey and Clay Polson 3 days before school started. So I taught in Dugway, Utah for 3 years, and I valued my experience there. But I was so grateful to lead cheerleading advisor and drill team advisor in the dust and go to a junior high where I have weekend duties. I love junior high students. They are the most fascinating creatures. And I think you have to be semi-crazy to teach junior high. And I truly value my years there. And when things changed and I had to go to Murray High School, it was a difficult transition. But I also love those kids too. It took a little bit longer to kind of get used to the high school. Let's just put it this way, they're not as enthusiastic about it. But I am most grateful that I have been able to teach with two phenomenal faculties. And the people that I come in contact from every aspect of teaching in a building, and I appreciate those people. And I also have to say, Murray School District with the CTE program has been very generous. And I want to do a big shout out to Will Merrill and to Scott Bushnell, because as CTE teachers, we've always had the resources that we've needed. And you don't find that in every district. Also the parents, I will say that, 95% of our parents are so supportive. And I have appreciated that as a teacher. And as I started a family, my ex-husband and I, well, my husband at the time, we both decided that our kids needed to attend Murray School District. So they did attend West Jordan Elementary School and Majestic Elementary School, but we moved them into Murray. And I'm very grateful as a parent that I was able to have that opportunity. And it was kind of fun to teach my kids in junior high. Sometimes they don't like to acknowledge that. But I just felt like that they had opportunities in Murray that they wouldn't have had elsewhere. So for the most part, I love teaching. This has been a rough year and I really wanted to go 40 years, but I just thought, it's time to live my life and enjoy my family and my older sisters and take some time to really take some time for myself and focus on things that are important to me in that direction. But I appreciate it, Murray, and for the opportunities I've had to learn and grow. Thanks.
I kind of feel like we need to have a person in the room to tell us about how they really felt.
If you're on this side, just love it.
Janet, on behalf of the Murray City School District Board of Education, Murray City School District, we want to thank you for your 39 years in education, and Board Member Anderson has a gift. And next I'd like to invite up Vicki Yoakum. Hi, Vicki. And we want to thank her husband, Ron, for being here tonight with us. Vicki was hired in 1988. I was still in high school, so. And Vicki has been with the district for 33 years in the child nutrition program. She has served as the kitchen lead since I've been here, and I think a little bit before that. She has been instrumental in so many initiatives in our child nutrition program, but what I really want to highlight and thank her for is the way that she was able to pivot during our soft closure. She just transitioned. We closed one day and we say we need to start having meals out of all our elementaries. And the way she was able to manage that and transition to that was seamless. And the work that she has done to help our students ensure that they have access to high quality nutrition has been second to none. So, Vicki, we want to thank you for all that you have done and give you an opportunity to address the board.
This too is not my forte. I've just been privileged to work for Murray School District. And, I was hired by Judy Grant, which not very many of you know who she is. She is before David and before Jody, and then it was Judy, So what a wonderful person that she was, and she taught me a lot. And she taught me how to, be versatile. And I feel like that's helped me a lot in my career. And I have really enjoyed working for Murray. And it's been, it's had its challenges and that, but it's also had a lot of rewards. And I love the kids. You know, when I first got put in as a manager over one of the elementary schools, I wasn't really in the kitchen so much anymore. And the biggest thing to this day that I miss is the kids' faces. When they would come down to get their breakfast or their lunch, and a lot of them would confide their stories in you. You know, what happened in their lives, or what happened the night before, or whatever. And I miss that, and still to this day, I miss that. I started out working 2 hours a day, you know, and worked my way up and became a manager at one of the schools, and then just now I manage all 7 elementaries. And it's been really fun, and I have some really good relationships with the ladies that I work with. All of them are amazing in every one of our kitchens. They're all able to, you know, take change and turn it around and do what needs to be done. We have a fantastic staff in our food service organization. And David's been really good to work with. We, you know, him and I, we've butted heads a few times, but we come out and we know what we want to have done. And he's been a good director for me. And I really do appreciate his time that he's put in. And I just want to thank you all again for this opportunity. And I am very, very blessed to have been here. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. On behalf of the Murray City School District Board of Education and the district, we want to thank you for the 33 years you have given to the district in service. And Board President Cooper has returned. We also have Christopher Stephan, who will be retiring from the district this year. Christopher is not able to be with us this evening. Christopher has been with the district for 16 years, and he is a custodian at Riverview Junior High School. So I'd like to ask if everyone in this room would please give one more round of applause for our 2021 retirees. Look forward to hearing what your next brings. We would like to take just a moment and have a picture with all of our retirees. Typically, we like to take it with the board members, and so Doug Perry from our district office will kind of get you arranged. And again, we apologize. We'll take just a moment to get this photo set up.
Right up here. I'll stand back behind here. And
Yeah, you can take your mask down.
maybe we should have board stand up too, because I can't see all of you. Could the board stand? Yeah, could you all stand up? That would be great.
People look funny without masks.
You guys look great without masks. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thanks once again for all of your service and the years that you've dedicated to Murray City School District. On a personal note, Dee Jensen was my sophomore basketball coach. DJ and I go back quite a ways. And Stan Mackey I know very well, and Clayton Polson. And my father was a biology teacher at Murray, and when I was enrolled in his class, he immediately enrolled me and put me in a different biology teacher. So I think I won that lottery, sorry. We will move forward now with our consent agenda. Do I have approval? Yes, sure. You are welcome to leave if you'd like. The rest of the meeting is a little more business oriented. You're also welcome to stay if you'd like, but feel free to go ahead and leave if you'd like as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We will now proceed with our consent agenda. Do I have an approval, or I'll take a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We will now move to delegation representatives, and we will start with Murray High School's PTA President, Jenny Cox. You're all alone, huh?
Right? They could abandon me. How do you follow that? What amazing staff we have here in the Murray School District. You know, it's hard to sort of sum up this year and how difficult it's been as a parent, and I can't even imagine as a teacher. I can't even imagine what they've been through. And so our whole goal from the very beginning of this year was just to support them in any way we could. We had some challenges related to COVID. You know, how do you do food for the parent-teacher conference dinners when you have to individually wrap everything? So we had to spend so much more money, and so it was definitely stressful at times. But I will say that we live in an amazing community, and there were times that we put out requests for donations, and you cannot believe how many food items we had donated, money. The parents wanted to help. I mean, they really legitimately, even if they couldn't be at the meetings and even if they couldn't be there, wanted to do something to let the teachers know how much we appreciated them. So I've thought this for years, but I'm going to say it again. Murray's an amazing place to live, and we're grateful to have the support of the community and the parents and everybody we've had. It's been interesting, these amazing student body officers I have with me here. And student athlete too. I can't forget her because she's my kid. But either way, the way that they've been able to adapt to this this past year has been amazing, and I've been so proud of them, and we've been so grateful to be able to support them in everything that they've tried to do. We got to go to a lot of moms got to go to the prom, so I don't know what mom or what kid doesn't want their mom at the prom, but that was kind of fun for us. And also, I just like to take a quick minute to thank the administrators at Murray High. They've been so supportive. Mr. Mahon, sophomore somewhere, has been such an advocate for the kids and trying to make sure that they were able to have some sort of normalcy, whether it meant COVID testing. I mean, we really have kind of, he's done whatever he could to make sure that they had some sort of in-school and fun experience this year, so we're grateful for him too. So I'm gonna stop talking and turn over to these cute kids. So Tomo's gonna come first.
Hello, I'm Tomo. If you don't know me, I'm SBO Vice President at the high school.
And I think he usually gets like applause and he's known by the bar.
I was asked to talk about just how the school year went mostly. I think the most difficult part about the school year this year was seeing everybody so down just because the lesson activities and with all the rules and regulations that kids didn't get to do what they wanted to on a consistent basis. And I think that really hit the school very hard this year, especially since we canceled 80% of our dances and we didn't get to have all the fun that we wanted, obviously, and that the schools and games were cut short and there were limitations on tickets and everything. But I think that obviously, since the regulations are being lifted right now, I was really grateful that we could have prom and senior ball, and that my graduating class will get to have graduation, like actually, unlike last year. And I'm happy to just see that everything's going back to normal, and I'm excited to see what's happening next year. Here's Ava.
Oh, wait, sorry. All over here. So I'm Addie, I'm her daughter. I'm here with the student athletes. This year was hard, obviously, for everybody, but I think it was especially hard for us athletes because, you know, it was at the beginning of the year, it was like, okay, we're gonna have a season, are we not gonna have a season, especially for fall sports, you know. Winter sports was like, okay, we'll probably have it figured out by then, but fall sports, it was like, we don't know if we're gonna have a season yet, we don't know if we're gonna figure it out, and then once they had it figured out, we're like, okay, yeah, we're in, like, let's do this, and then we figured out there was regulations of how many people could come, and then those kept like changing, and so it was so hard, you know, and then I felt bad for the parents because they were just trying to, you know, come and support, and it was like, okay, we're gonna limit it to 2 people, and you know, some people have step parents, and they're like, okay, how are we gonna do this for those kids, you know, and so I think we were all just grateful to play, but I felt bad for like administration because, you know, they had to figure out COVID tests, they had to figure out like the tickets, how they could limit it to only 25%, you know, and so we're very grateful for that. And then by the time winter came around, it was good because I also got to participate in unified sports, and so that was fun. They did really good, actually. They took second in basketball, and it's only like 4 teams that participate, so hopefully more will start participating. But those kids are just always so happy, you know, and I'm so glad they got to play because I participated last year and it was normal, but like, I'm so glad they figured out a way for them to play. And then spring sports roll around and, you know, they have it all figured out. They have tickets figured out, they have everything. So we were able to do soccer for unified sports and they took 4th in state. And so that was fun. So I'm glad they have it all figured out and that the regulations are getting lifted, but I know it was hard for everybody, not only as athletes, but administration especially, and then parents figuring out what are we gonna do for dinners and stuff. So yeah, just grateful. Hello, thank you for having us. I'm Ava Murray. I'm a current student government officer and next year's SBO president. So as Toma was saying, a lot of things did get canceled this year, but it was great to be able to move a lot of things virtual. We had live streams and assemblies posted online so we could keep going and keep the kids involved. And we used Instagram as a tool to keep kids connected, even if we went online. And then we were able to use the program Test to Stay so we could keep being at school. And that was really good. And we were able to start having more events once we remembered social distancing and face masks and everything. So it was great to be back with our students. And I think next year we'll have a better opportunity to enjoy a COVID-free year. Hopefully, that's what we're looking forward to. And I think it'll be good to keep inviting kids to come once we're having activities. They'll be out of habit, so we'll have to advertise it well and get kids excited. And I think this year has made us appreciate the little things more, such as time with your friends and just seeing smiles. And so I think that hopefully that will be carried over into next year, so kids will be more excited to come participate. And we've all been really resilient, and so it's been fun to see how everyone adapts to things. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from our MEA representative, Mark Durfin.
Feel a little naked taking that off, right? We'll see. I'm happy to report that our members have ratified the contract for this year, and we appreciate the effort of the district and the superintendent and the board. As of my last phone call, we had 98% approval. So overwhelming support for that, and we appreciate that. I think all of us were a little taken aback today. So I'm sure the superintendent had plenty of calls after the governor's comments, and my computer just blew up. So there's a lot of concern from our teachers. And I'm going to share the data with the superintendent offline, but there is a concern with the confusion that could arise by supporting the governor's decision or changing the last week of school. So that's a big concern for a lot of our teachers. It looks like with the few number of retirees we had this year, that we have teachers that are excited to give it another try next year. The question is, are you? But again, it's been a year. I think at the beginning we all had high hopes and that we could get through this and remain friends and survive, right? Survival mode. And I think we've more than done that. And I think a lot of that goes to the cooperation we have in Murray. And I just appreciate our teacher support. I rarely heard that teachers did not want to be in the classroom. The thing that they were most, that they missed the most was the fact that our students weren't always there with us. But rarely did I hear concerns from the teachers that they didn't want to be there. And I think that says a lot about what Steve said, is that I think teachers felt supported. I think teachers felt like the board met us and that we were all in this together, trying to do the best we could for kids. And I for one will just say my experience is that any student that wanted to get an education, that wanted to learn, was able to do so this year because of our staff, our faculty, and everything that we did. Now, there were some that chose to become distracted. And I'm sure we'll be working hard to help them get back on track. But those that wanted to learn, we were there for them. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of our teachers, and I'm proud of our members. And I'm proud to be from Murray District. And you know, we're in with Salt Lake and other districts that had a little bumpier road than we did. And anyway, I'm just proud to be from Murray. And we look forward to working again for next year and getting a little more normalcy. So we appreciate it, and we'll look forward to signing that contract. Thanks.
Thank you. Do we have a representative from Massa here? This is or we'll go ahead and move forward. MESPA. Thane, yeah.
Well, like I was alienated over there. No, I want to thank the board for all that you've done for us as classified employees. Grateful for the much support, grateful for the negotiations and putting things in order and helping us make adjustments to our negotiations that were set forth. And we're grateful for the opportunity we have to continue and move forward as happy employees as the teachers are, also as you know, as well as the staff of bus drivers and the para-educators and secretaries and custodials. So appreciate all you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from our foundation representative.
Well, we certainly have learned some things too this year. And sorry, you can't hear me? I never not heard. Anyway, we've learned some things too this year. Golf tournament will be somewhat different in August, and but I think it was some good things that we learned from this year. Pinnacle is up to date at this point. We just finished our second one in 2 months. And I hope that some of you were able to zoom in and see some of the awards. You know, we had the most obedient group of awardees this year that we've ever had. I mean, we said come for pictures and they were all just right there, you know, and when we went out to recognize them, I mean, we were just on schedule the whole time. The only thing was we missed people that were, you know, the families, you know, because we had to keep that cut down, which was kind of sad. But, you know, you take the good with the bad. And so I think all in all, we've had a good year and everything kind of has kept up. And I want to let you know that we are pretty amazed at our Pinnacle group of sponsors that really stepped up for Pinnacle. I mean, at that point, they knew they weren't getting a dinner. They knew they weren't really buying a table. It was all going to be virtual. And, you know, most of them stepped up even bigger than they normally did because we said, you know, it's going to be different, needless to say. But they were there for us, so we really appreciate them. So, Anyway, thank you so much for your support. And I'm sorry that you weren't there, but the golf tournament's coming. You're all invited. And next year, Pinnacle, we hope to have seats for you at the table and an awesome meal, right, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Now time for patron statements. So now is the time that we hear from our public. We welcome your comments, which are important to us. Please note that all comments are limited to 3 minutes. Public statements are welcome for new issues, new program, policy suggestions, and other issues that have not recently come before the board. During this segment of the meeting, statements are not allowed regarding bidding, contracts, employment or personnel issues, criticism of individual district employees, complaints or other appeals are available. Repetitions of issues recently discussed in board meeting are items which have a separate public hearing. When your name is called, please go to the podium to comment. It is helpful for the board if you would give us your name. Please address your remarks to the board chair. Note that we will be not entering into a dialogue at this time. The purpose of this agenda item is for you, the public, to inform us, the board, about your views. If members of the public have factual questions, staff will be glad to address them after the meeting. We have one, Doug?
Just one. This public comment is by proxy. This person is April to Spain. And she writes, as many of you are aware, over the past few months, parents' trust in Murray City School District has been violated with the formation of a council memo, programs, training, and curricula that we were not aware of and had no say in. We've heard it expressed by Jen Covington, school board members and others that the district would like to rebuild trust with parents. If you really want to rebuild trust with us, then please start including us in meetings and decisions and allow us to enter the schools and classrooms of our children. If you believe parents' views matter, then allow us to be present, allow us to give input, allow us to participate. We feel it's past time to permit parents back into the school buildings and classrooms. We used to enjoy volunteering in our children's school classrooms and getting to know their teachers. But for the entirety of this year, in the name of COVID, we've been restricted from even seeing our children's classrooms and getting to know their teachers. We've tolerated these restrictions because of COVID, but we feel it's time for them to end now. Parents should be allowed into the same buildings and classrooms as their own children. We should be allowed to speak directly with and get to know the teachers who have significant influence on our children each day. Additionally, parents want to attend school board meetings in person from now on. We want the opportunity to read our own comments should we so choose. And we'd like to witness board presentations firsthand. We want the opportunity to speak and interact directly with our school board and district representatives. We'd like reconsideration given to the structure of the Murray Opportunity Councils and literary review committees. Parents with different views want to be involved, but only one parent per school can participate, it is impossible for varying viewpoints of parents to be adequately represented. This won't be functional and will likely only create further headaches to the district as these councils and committees move forward. If you want to rebuild trust with parents on the equity issues in Murray District, then you should ask for input instead of designing a flawed system. Many of the concerns raised this year have come about because parents were not allowed to participate in nor view the circumstances within our children's schools. We want this to change.
Thanks, Doug. We'll now proceed with the report of the board. We'll start with your Tammy. I probably didn't want to go first, but let you go first.
Excuse me. I'm excited to get the calendar for next year. We're approving that tonight, so that will be finalized and publicized after today. I'm assuming because I have gotten quite a few questions as to what the calendar for next year looks like. So I'm excited that it will be normal. I don't know if that's the right word, but pre-pandemic calendar. Also, I attended the senior ball, and I still am amazed at how much our administrators do outside of their regular job. I mean, by 10:30, I was like, I gotta get out of here, you know, and the administrators were still there and lots of work left to do to help clean up. And so I just think that the end of school activities, I am so thankful that our kids are able to do those, both of the work that our administrators have done and also just the changing of some of the restrictions of our pandemic. And I know it has been a tough year as we listen to these students, but this, I think we've done very well managing it to the best of our ability. And I feel having two seniors this year, I asked one of them today, what do you think you'll remember your senior year? And he's like, it was hard, but we made it through. And those are valuable lessons. And that's what I have.
Thank you. Cool.
Well, I went to see the huge house that Quinn and the students have built. And it's about $1 million home. And I don't know if anyone's going to buy it or not, but I hope they do. And then I also visited with Whitney at Horizon and Earl at Riverview. And it's just great to talk to people in the schools because they are such wonderful people.
Thank you. Elizabeth?
Last week, I think I was able to go to Liberty Elementary's fun run, and they raised $12,000, which I think is awesome. I think that's, Jill's not here, so I don't know if that's the highest ever, but I know a couple of years ago it was 10,000, so that's quite a bit more. And yeah, that was really great because we didn't get to do that last year, and I'm so glad that the kids had an awesome event to raise their money. And then I just want to recognize, as we're getting to the end of the school year, this will be our last official board meeting unless we have an emergency come up. I just want to thank everyone for incredible hard work that everyone has put in this year to make it as normal as possible for our kids.
Thank you. Linda?
In the same sense, I was in a meeting where a state board member said that 25% of the students in the nation have not been in a face-to-face class for now 14 months. And it broke my heart. And it's really hit me that 25% of kids haven't been with their teachers in person. But it made me so proud. I was in a athletic association meeting at the time, and I thought, Utah was the only group, the only state in the country who had a successful fall season. And we're one of the few that had successful winter and spring seasons. Well, we're almost done with spring, they're all in playoffs, which is really awesome. And I'm proud to be part of that association, and I'm proud to be a part of this district that we spent our time trying to do what was best for kids. And I think we did the very best we could. We tried to, I mean, gosh, we did all three things, online, hybrid, and in person. We tried to catch everybody's learning styles and choices and family decisions. And I'm so proud to be associated with each of you that made that happen. And I also keep thinking, and Robin told me it was like going through childbirth that I can't remember last summer. Like it was this traumatic affair, and I don't remember how hard it was, but it was hard. And I'm so proud to be part of, like Utah, sometimes I think we get like, you have too many kids and you do this and you do that. But Utah has really done what's right by kids this year, and Murray has done right by what kids need this year. And I can't thank everybody, every single person, the kids, the parents, the staff involved in that. So thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to echo the comments. I think back a year ago in the challenge that the district had and what we were going to do, not only to end the school year, but to how we were going to get through the next school year, anticipating that there was not going to be a lot of change in the restrictions. And you guys devoted a lot of your summer to figuring out how to make that work. District office administrators and teachers. And I think it paid off, not without its challenges, but I don't think anything worth it wouldn't have some kind of a challenge. And I just want to thank you for making it as successful as it was for our students and for our staff. With that, we will go to the report of the staff and start with Scott Bushnell and Wendy Sanders.
Tonight we have the opportunity to hear from Wendy Sanders, who is representing our counseling and comprehensive guidance programs here in Murray City School District. I think it's been a pleasure to be here this evening to hear how wonderful our employees are, parents, our families, our students. I have to give a shout out to our counselors as well and the comm guidance program and what you guys do. Wendy, we appreciate it. Wendy's here to represent the program, as I mentioned. We typically do this annually as part of the responsibility that we have in accordance with what the state asks us to do. And so she's going to share some of the information from the comm guidance program. Thank you, Wendy.
Okay, I'm happy to be back again.
Do you feel like you just did it?
Yeah, I feel like, I think I skipped last year though. Right, so yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm gonna report from Murray High School, Hillcrest, and Riverview. I'm gonna start with us because I'm here, so we'll do this one first. We all do data projects, all of the counseling teams every year. The state really would like a longitudinal data project. We were doing ACT, and we've done that for a series of a few years, trying to increase ACT attempts and ACT scores to go along with our school plan. So we did move partly because we knew this was going to be something that we're going to need to focus on. I think we call those the distracted students. So we're going to need with the remediation, we really appreciate the support of the district and the school board. And obviously that remediation is going to be really important for us and moving forward. So we went up, we anticipate we go up. There was a lot of supports put in place. It was a big picture for us for our project. We'll start to pare that down by a demographic it's a couple demographics that maybe needs a little bit more support. So that's what we'll do next year. We'll report on that then. Down at the bottom of that page, I just kind of talked about some of the things. It has been a hard year for a lot of people. I just want to say, I think for comm guidance, there's some really great things that we were able to pivot and give some more opportunities for parents and for kids. And our staff did a really great job of helping us with that. One of the things we did is our registration went all online, our registration for classes. Our teachers make videos, video explanations for a lot of their classes. So we kind of have a virtual course catalog online now. I thought it was really helpful, and the teachers did a great job of that. So we're able to direct kids to online if they have questions about what to take, or parents and those teachers can talk about their classes, which is really helpful. As much as I hope to know about those classes, hearing it from the teachers is even better. So that was really cool. Our PCCRs are meetings with our parents and kids. We have become a little more tech savvy for the counseling department, and we're going to be able to offer those and have offered those obviously through Zoom and other ways. Our attendance and our parent attendance, which is down at the bottom for those meetings, did go down. But that just attendance in general, kids in classes was down this year. So we're not really worried about it. We felt like we got pretty good parent support, all things considered with that group. We did meet with our parents and kids individually this year for every single group. We usually do one group CCR and then 2 individuals, and we went every group individual. So we just felt like people were going to need the support coming back, and a couple of them happened during when we shut down for a couple of weeks. So we had good intentions, but it didn't exactly work out that way. We're going to be at graduation. It's going to be at Murray High School this year, and I'm very excited about that. So anyway, there's some cool things I think that are happening, and we've been able to kind of pivot that way. So do you guys have questions about Murray High School?
I just learned about the registration, the videos. Yeah. That's really cool, because now you can, I was telling the other moms I was with, like, when I went with like my ninth grader, I was like, what, you know, like concurrent and AP, and so you can slow down and go watch those now and spend some time. I think it's a really great idea.
Awesome. Good, I'm happy about that. And even the CCR meetings, like we can reference, like we put all of those in video too. And so we've got an hour long, like, hey, you know, you go back and watch that video later if you don't remember what we talked about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you.
What does the sophomore people shut down?
Our numbers weren't, so that was our first group we attempted to do. We think we're about 30. Daniel's still working on those numbers for me, but those were during those two, when we were trying to do those individual meetings, that was when we did those two shutdowns. So it just was timing poorly for them. We start our meetings next year with our seniors, our juniors this year will come back and meet first with us. And then we're gonna have to get those sophomores pretty quick after that.
Do you think that you'll do things differently next year because of the experience of this year? I mean, some of them, will you be able to reach out and do Zoom to parents who can't come?
I think we're looking at, we do some night meetings, so we do try to open up for parents that are working before COVID. So we'll go mornings, early mornings, late nights and stuff like that, and we'll kind of partner with that. But absolutely, that's one of the things I think that's gonna be really helpful for us. You know, in the past, we've been able to FaceTime sometimes with parents who aren't able to attend, but you have to have the technology to be able to do that. So I think this is gonna be more user-friendly for a wider variety and give them those options. So, awesome. Okay, the next page is Hillcrest, their data project, and then Riverview's. Hillcrest has gone up, they did a project about group social emotional learning, and they just have somebody over there that's working really hard for that, and that participation for them went way up. And I don't have CCR numbers, I didn't get them from them. So, and then Riverview's data project, we've done this for quite a while. They're looking at numbers of Fs, and they've done that since 2011, it looks like. So that's kind of where they are, and then their CCR numbers are awesome. So we meet with Mr. Bushnell, and that was one of the things I wanted to talk to them about, because their numbers and parent attendance was really good, even through those Zoom meetings. So anything? Because I do appreciate you guys as well. And then the district's been really supportive of us, and there's been a lot of change, and you guys have been open to all of those suggestions. So
I appreciate the counseling office. You guys know enough hours in the day, and it's, I honestly don't know how you guys get done what you get done. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone's favorite topic is next. Budget update for 21-22 calendar year. Richard.
Thank you. I am smiling at my mask. Thank you, Darren.
Richard, those funny people are left at this point.
I know, and they don't care. I understand. We'll go through all the detail next month. This is just to provide just a really quick overview of what we're looking at legislatively with the budget in the district. So with that, so some legislative highlights, just again, a very quick overview. As you, I'm sure, are aware, we got a significant increase in the weighted pupil unit of 5.92%. What that meant to us in some specific programs, we had a $161,000 increase in our TSSA funding. School and trust, very minimal actually, a $3,000 increase. Increase in our transportation, which we subsidize significantly out of local funds. So any increase in funding we get is essentially unrestricted money for us. So that's $44,000. And then one thing, a fairly large change that was made is our at-risk program funding. Historically, that has been a line item of funding, meaning it's not tied to the weighted pupil unit. It's not calculated based on weighted pupil unit. So there was no guaranteed adjustment to that program or increase if the WPU increased. This year, they moved that at-risk program above the line, or now it is based on WPU funding. And not only that, the funding was increased significantly. So in Murray, where you're going to receive an additional $149,000 for our at-risk programs. from 367,000 to 516,000. So that's a huge benefit, and it's probably already spent, but that is very, very welcome to see. Within Murray School District, we show district highlights, but in the first bulletin or bullet is actually kind of a low light, in that our legislative estimates show a decrease of 326 weighted pupil units. Because of that, teacher FTE will be reduced next year by 10, which will be accounted for through attrition and through retirement. So there won't be any other additional impact. The large increase in the weighted pupil unit, subtract the number of students. So we really only had in our unrestricted funding, $43,000 net increase in funding. So it did make it a bit of a challenge for us, unfortunately, but we feel very comfortable with our negotiations and the packages that we were able to put together. And did quite a lot of input there, and did a great job counseling and running ideas and helping out there. So all employees were offered 2.75% COLA. District, there was a 3.6% increase in insurance premium, which the district offered to pay. Steps and lanes were funded, and of course, depending on how negotiations are finalized with each group, those numbers may change. The total dollars won't, but insurance may be, money made available for insurance may be placed on the COLA, that type of thing. We talked, I can't remember if it was last month or the month before, we refinanced our lease revenue bonds and bonds that were used to build this building. And that resulted in a $250,000 savings over the remaining life of the bond, 10 years. One thing that we did do that we typically have not done in the past is we have captured that fund, or those savings, which are about $25,000 a year. And that service is paid out of the capital outlay fund, which is typically not available for salaries, benefits, et cetera. But what we are going to do is increase the tax rate in our local board levy in the general fund, decrease our tax rate in the capital fund to be able to capture that and move that into our general fund for it. So we made that money available for negotiations. And then we increased the salary for 8 of our contract custodians who've been with us a very long time, and they were at the lane 7 and felt that it was highly appropriate to increase their pay to a lane 9, which would be a more livable wage, and to recognize all the great work they do. And then we, one of the line items in our budget that we increased moving forward is the textbook adoption budget. We increased that by $32,000. I think this will be helpful. It was helpful for me to get this all kind of put together. And that's what about all of our CARES funding, our federal funding, what does that mean? How does that impact us? What money is really available to Murray School District? So we have 7, let's see, actually 1, 2, right now we have 7 different grants available to us. Well, 6 right now, we'll have 1 more coming. So the original CARES funding, its terminology is ESSER 1. The state amount that they received was $16 million. The district, Murray School District, received $524,000. And then we received another round of ESSER funding, which is ESSER 2, to the tune of $2.1 million for Murray School District. And then we are in the process of getting final approvals for the ESSER 3. I think the state has it. They haven't allocated the funds to localities yet, the LEAs. But that will be based upon total amount the state received, that will be significantly more than the ESSER two. The exact amount I don't know. And in addition to the ESSER funds, we received a combined $183,000 for K-12 relief and then the high school testing grants. So those are three different funds that total $183,000. In addition to that, the governor had some pass-through money called GEARS, where we received $286,000 from. And then finally, the county had some pass-through CARES funding that we received in the tune of $489,000. And the superintendent has taken the lead in managing all of these funds, how they're being spent and allocated in budget. She's done a fantastic job with that. And that will continue on for a couple more years at least. With our capital outlay budget, we don't have any major projects, but we go through a process where we prioritize funding each year for at the school level, totaling this year just over $1 million, which is honestly about 3 times more than we normally would allocate. But we have a significant fund balance in our capital fund, over 18 million as of the end of last year. And there are a lot of things that are in need of funding. A couple of things we did this year that you'll be approving for the revised current year budget is, for example, our big riding lawnmower. It's continually breaking down, and I was frankly embarrassed to find out that we borrowed the city's lawnmower last year for 8 months.
Oh my gosh.
Because ours was not functioning. So that kind of was the last straw. And so the superintendent suggested that perhaps we remedy that in the current year so we could have those lawnmowers to mow this summer and in the fall. So we bought 2 new mowers this year. And what was the other big thing we did this year?
We did the Kubotas.
Oh, the Kubotas, yeah. That's what I was, yeah, so we bought 4 Kubotas, which are utility side-by-sides, 3 for elementary schools and 1 for the district office. And then next year, we're going to buy 5 Kubotas for Horizon Liberty, Longview, Beaumont, and Riverview.
I don't see a bathroom on there.
What?
At the football field.
That would fit under the major projects category. Yeah, you do not see one there, that is correct. But if you look at the list, we are replacing the turf at Murray High. It's been 10 years now, and it's I don't know, it's already, so it's time to replace that, and that project will start July 1. So all of these items are out of next year's budget now. We talked about the Kubotas. The elementary schools need a place to store the Kubotas, and so we're going to be, Dave Roberts has made contact with a company to build some nice metal sheds. So purchasing 8 sheds to store those Kubotas at every elementary. The warehouse truck is 20 years old and keeps breaking down and needs to be repaired constantly. So this is one of those things where we decided, got to take care of our people and so they can do the job the way they're supposed to. So our warehouse truck, replacing that. The warehouse forklift can't even reach the top shelves, and it's really old as well. So we're replacing the forklift. We have budgeted for a new portable at Beaumont, functional classroom space there. And then I didn't put on the list all of the replacing the light fixtures and painting rooms and the story sills and all of that. But obviously that adds up to overall a rather significant amount of money. And one other thing is at Longview Elementary is to widen the track there. It's about $7,500. So again, we have two kinds of debt. We have the general obligation debt, which you take to the voters, you get approval to build a building. So then this is the Hillcrest, the junior high. In our current year, our total debt service on that top line with principal and interest is 3.5. Next year and subsequent years, that steps down about $600,000 a year to 2.9, or roughly 2.9 million a year until the end of the term of the bond payments. That very last line, well, for a total remaining debt service of almost $39 million. Just as an aside, legally, we can incur debt up to 4% of the assessed value within the boundaries of the district. So legally, we could incur an additional $219 million in debt, and that might get us one more CTE house built, but at this rate. But obviously, there are no plans to do that. But we do have that available to issue, obviously pending board approvals, depending on what the board decides to do in the future.
That would not be stuff we have to bond, that is just.
That's the maximum that we would be able to bond for.
Oh, okay, but we would have to bond for it.
Yes, we would have to do a bond election and that type of thing. So just for information. Nutrition Services Fund, as you probably are aware, the USDA has extended universal free lunch through next year as well. Just as this year, state's working to obtain the waiver, and there'll be more information coming. Dave could speak to that in a future date, I'm sure. We do actually have a fund on our financial statements. It's called the Pass-Through Taxes Fund, and this is relatively new. So any money that is generated through redevelopment agencies within the district has to be recorded as a revenue and expenditure in that fund. It's the same amount, so it doesn't impact the district, but accounting practices require that we do that. And just for your information, with existing RDAs in Murray School District, there is the opportunity to negotiate mitigation payments from the RDA, because school districts typically contribute the vast majority of funding in an RDA. And so there has been negotiations with the RDAs to pass or to mitigate some of that funding. So Murray School District received in this current year $740,000 in mitigation payments from redevelopment agencies. That is not new money; it's been budgeted for. It's nothing that's available. But just so you know, that's the kind of money that we're receiving through those mitigation payments. Then we are required. Well, I think it was 2 years ago that there was if you look on your property tax notices, there is a line item for charter schools. So now we have to collect tax revenue for charter schools, and for this year, that's about $154,000. It's kind of a pass-through scenario. And that is all you have for now. There will be much more exciting stuff that Jared will have to look forward to next. With all of the detail per fund and just all the really, really good stuff.
I can't wait.
So there you go.
Thank you. Next, we will proceed with our food service management contract, and David Roberts.
Board President Cooper and fellow board members, thank you for allowing us to present this to you guys tonight. This is amendment number 3 to our food service management contract. Really, the only thing that's changing is there is a little bit more than a 5-cent increase on that. That's about a 3% increase. The CPI, they base that increase based off the consumer price index. That index line item for this year is running about 3.7%. And we did the 3%, they requested 3% for this year, which is roughly just a little bit more than a nickel to that. That's basically the only change. This has been presented to the Utah State School Board of Education for their approval. They have approved that, this contract amendment. So I'm just looking for the opportunity to have a motion on this amendment on this contract tonight, if that is.
The amount per deal.
Is it $1.80? Yep. Okay, and that is one of the lowest prices across the Wasatch Front, just so you guys know.
I mean, I would guess the price of food increasing.
Yes.
With taxes and stuff.
And the individual packaging that occurred this year was very pricey.
But there's no charge to the students for continuing this year and then next year.
Correct. And the price that the students pay is not going up. It's just what we contract with Sodexo is going up, what they would receive from us. So the students aren't paying any more for lunch.
Gotcha. They won't be paying anything.
Yeah, and this next year they won't be paying anything. That's correct.
We have a lot of kids that are taking school lunch that haven't before because of, I get that. That's what I mean, I would leave.
And we're doing some great things. We're delivering lunch to some high density apartment complexes, and we'll continue to do that this summer. We'll take a bus to 3 big apartment complexes and deliver those lunches. Anybody 18 and under can eat. So it's a good service. That's one of the positive things that has come out of this COVID is that every kid has had the opportunity to eat, no matter what their socioeconomic status may be.
Okay, thank you. So we need a motion to approve. Do I have anyone who wants to present a motion? I have a motion to approve this new contract. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion so passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next thing is by Scott Bushnell. Looks like our IN 307 disclosure requirements.
Thank you. Just doing a little updating. Superintendent Covington has been going through policies and has provided some updates. This particular one is on disclosure requirements, since IN 307 as was mentioned. And if you have that, and it looks like it's in front of you, nothing has changed in items A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We've expanded. There is that language, but it falls at the end of G that's there currently in G. Just a reminder is against FERPA to post grades in any form in the classroom. But it's important to have critical evaluation, including by your peers, which may include the exchange of student work. And that will be used to enhance the education process. Ultimately, as you can see there, the final assessment is the job of the teacher. Student privacy will be respected when providing class grades and other confidential information. And then you see that continues about June 30th, the fourth quarter. So are there any questions? This is a first reading for this particular policy. Are there any questions that you have at this time?
I do have a quick question. It says that in FERPA is the final grade cannot be posted. What about assessment grades during the year? Can those be posted?
Where does that say final grade again? I think it just says it's
The
against.
final, student's grade in any form in the classroom.
So it's against the family, so it's against FERPA to post student grades in any form in the classroom.
So any type of assessment cannot be posted.
Cannot be posted for all students to see.
A student assignment or something like that.
And the good news is with the technology and everything that we have, they can look at and find their individual grades. However, what's really can sometimes be a problem, and sometimes people think that it's against FERPA, it's okay to peer review within the classroom and have peer review of others' work. And that's the way we learn and kind of grow. And that's acceptable, and we have that in this policy, that is okay. But it's not appropriate to post grades in any form for the whole class or group to see. We do that using our technology at this point.
So, because like grading on a curve, those grades could be posted as long as they weren't identified to any student, right?
Well, the way Yeah, in the past, I think there's always been some question on what if we didn't identify the student or had a student number? This just simply says it is against FERPA to post grades in any form in the classroom now. And we're just making that abundantly clear in our policy that that's not to be done. However, we're not going to stop, or it won't be discontinued, the practice of peer review for pieces of work for students to do peer reviews, because that's a real part of the learning process, and to have that dialogue and exchange and try to get better as we work through that. So does that help?
Yeah, I just, I'm wondering how so-and-so got an A, that can't be done either.
Oh, like if they're passing them out.
Yeah.
not Even like
Because I know that is done right now, but a teacher couldn't go and say, John got 100%. That's something that would be against this policy.
Yes, correct. If they shouldn't be doing that, there shouldn't be any identification. So they can more say like 10 students got 90 and above, or is that, so that, because they're not, is that right? Because then they're not mentioning a certain student name.
Yeah,
So
I would think that if they want to break out the number of A's, B's, or whatever percentages or whatever that, where there's no identifiable information, but it's just simply this is how the class did, or this is how the overall grade did.
It deals with posting them, so FERPA is dealing with the posting of grades. So
That's what I'm wondering.
you can't put like a list up, if even of any of the grades, it cannot be posted.
And that's what I was wondering is can be discussed but not posted.
Yeah.
That's kind of a gray area.
Right, and we can get some clarification on that then for, but, yeah. I can
Yeah,
find out
this
on
is
that.
a first reading, so thank you for those questions, and we'll certainly look into that for sure. Any other questions?
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Next up is the PS41 attendance. Looks like first reading from Dr. Darren Dean.
Darren, this is the first time I've seen you. I didn't know you were back there, right?
You missed me?
Oh, I really was. I was like, I wonder where Darren's at. And then I was like, oh.
Silent there. Hey, I'm just glad that Scott Bushnell led off with policy today.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So thank you, President Cooper and board members. So we have a PS 401, and this policy is just having some updating with new legislation and maybe some things that weren't in there prior to. And of course, we'll get to some other parts of the end. But so the legitimate absences, this is just updating what is in code. The biggest thing that's happened this year is that students can have mental health days. And then the other part is that we can't require doctor's notes. And there were a couple of other things in there that an approved school activity is in state code, and then an absence permitted by school-aged child's individual IEP or 504 plan, that was also in code. So that was just some updates to make sure we have the correct language. And then and I don't know if there's any questions on that portion. It's fairly straightforward. And then at the end of the policy, at the very end, we had our learner validated enrollment measures that we put in place at the beginning of this academic year due to online learning. And we are, after learning how this went and what we're proposing for next year, is we propose that for our elementary school students that are doing online learning, that each day at the elementary level, they'll have to log in and participate in their class. If not, they would be marked absent. At the secondary level, they were doing every 10 days this year, and we're looking at that being 5 days. And if they don't log in over that 5-day period, there'll be a 5-day check-in, but then they would have 5 days of absence. And that's talking to our directors and the schools and where they feel would be appropriate for next year.
That specific situation you and I talked about, like.
Yes.
Getting checked in on sooner.
Yes, getting checked in on sooner. And elementary and secondary, as we know, are a little different. The secondary, sometimes they have larger projects and things that they work on and so forth, and more independent. But yes, definitely aiming to check in with them. So this is a first reading of this policy. It seems to be a favorite that comes back time after time.
So, any questions for? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Our next item, the next item I have for you is adjustments to the board calendar that was approved previously for the 2021-2022 school year. So as was discussed previously with the board, we're asking for some proposed changes that the first week of school would be 5 half-days for students, with 4 of those afternoons being teacher professional development time and 1 afternoon of teacher work time for this next year. And then there'd be 3 half-days for students coming at the end of each term, and those are the dates up there, and with afternoons of teacher work time. And in adjusting the calendar, we did have to move one of our half-student professional development days. We had to move that from October 21st to the 29th, just so we could get those half-teacher work days lined up with the end of each term. So the changes are minor, but we'd ask for the board to consider those, and President Cooper, we'd ask for a motion to approve these changes.
Okay. A motion has been asked. Do I have, would entertain a motion for the adjustments to the calendar?
I move that we approve the calendar adjustments.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any
further discussion?
I did have a few teachers and parents talk to me that they love this ease. They didn't know, they just remembered last year, like, are we gonna do that again? That was a nice way to ease into the school year, is those half days. So.
And so just for my information on the calendar, then it's approved the post, I know it's posted, but the final version will be posted. As far as start and stop times, is that posted somewhere? Because I could not find it.
It is not, because that's something you're going to, I'm going to ask for a motion of support tonight on. So we haven't done that yet. But you are thinking right.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion so passes. Thank you. Now I turn the time over to Superintendent Jennifer Covington.
Great, thank you. I have 2 policies for first reading to bring to the board this evening. The first one is Admin 222, which deals with the Records and Management Act. This is a policy that after working with some legal counsel, we wanted to make sure that it was aligned. We have always followed the Records Management Act policy, which is governed by Utah Code. Excuse me. This just goes in and kind of references all of that and cleans it up a little bit. And so you can see the changes are in red. And again, everything is tied to the Utah Code and what section of code that is. Some technical changes, rather than saying MSD, we changed it to district. The description of the records and office managers kind of specifies what needs to be done with that. We do specify who the record managers are in the district for each of the records that fall under the Records Management Act. And also, and again, all of this has always been referenced in state code, but we wanted to put it in our code. Our policy was a little light on this. And so it classifies public, private, controlled, and protected records. And again, those are all spelled out in Utah Code 63G. Talks about the process of requesting for access when a grammar request is sent in and how that goes. And we do use the state records portal for that. And then the fees for records request, it is stated in code what that is. We do have an exhibit that goes along with this policy that will state specifically kind of what that fee structure is for our district, and it's coming up more slowly than I would like that to go. And it's kind of hard to see, but that is in your board book that you can look at that. So it does specify what those fee costs are. And again, all of those are in line with Utah Code. And it does talk about the appeals process. And again, tied directly to Utah Code. And then if there are other requests, these have always been in policy, but there's just a couple of technical or word changes to clean that up. So again, this is just a first reading. Again, as we're going through policies and making some adjustments and making sure that we have all of our language cleaned up. Any questions with regards to that? All right. Okay. My second one is SB 112, which is public participation in meetings. And this again is just to make some adjustments. When we had several of our employees who wanted to make public comment a couple of board meetings ago, our current policy says that we will hear from Murray citizens. And so we are proposing that we change our policy to say Murray residents, parents of students attending Murray City School District, and current employees of the district. It does detail in there what the process is to make a public comment. And it talks about that study sessions are open to the public. Okay. But they do not, we don't do public comments during study sessions. We did add it to this policy because we did do this. The board may choose to suspend or modify the rules in the event that you feel like we need to allow appropriate accommodations for public comments that may extend what we have within this policy. And then again, it just states what our public comments are for and public comments are not for. There is also a statement in here that those wishing to make a comment, let's see, except for right here. Public comments are limited again to Murray residents, parents of students attending the district, current employees, and then except with prior approval of the board president. So in the event, sometimes our legislators like to come and make public comments, and they would have to reach out to Board President Cooper and get permit or approval to do that, to be on our public agenda.
Where it says persons represent a group will receive 5 minutes, what do we define as a group?
We can define that if we want to define what a group is. So that's certainly something we can go back and look at. We say a group is a certain number, and I'm happy to research that and have that for the second reading of this. That's a great question.
So you kind of had expanded the time because it might be representing more than one.
Correct.
Was that the thought process?
Correct.
Define that just a little bit, say group meaning more than 2 people.
Well, I mean, if
Yeah,
it's 2 people in 5 minutes, we're still saving a minute. So, I mean,
Okay, okay.
so whether.
But it probably is good to define that is 2+ people.
Yeah, because one person,
When you come
and
to
do
say
all
represent a group.
people of the group need to be at board meeting to present? Or can one person come and say, I'm going to take 5 minutes because I represent this group, but none of them are here?
Yeah.
That's a little bit complicated.
I will do some research on that and we can get that clarified. Thank you for that question.
And that person from the group still needs to be in those categories. Whoever is speaking for the group.
Correct.
Needs to be one of those. That is the whole.
Yeah,
As long as the person speaking is one of those.
and I'm just saying a group, maybe defining a group as must be a Murray patron, one of those 6 things. Or
Yeah.
3 things, whatever.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you for that question and we will get that in the second reading.
And then along with that, then would they need to declare who they're representing?
Yeah.
So everybody just can't say, well, I'm representing a group, so I need 5 minutes.
That's why I was making that a little more clear.
Great. We can absolutely do that. Thank you for that. Other questions or clarifications? Okay, so again, first reading on both of those. If you do have anything that you look through, please reach out to me and we will work on those for getting ready for second reading. Do you want me to go on? Okay, all right, it's me again. It's just sort of me the rest of the meeting. So next up is an administrative transfer. So Board President Cooper and board members, after having some discussions within the district and looking at our administrators, I would like to ask for a motion of approval to approve Laura DeShazo to move from Murray High School, where she is currently the assistant principal, to become the assistant principal at Riverview Junior High School, effective July 1st, 2021. And we think this will be a good move for both Laura and for Riverview. So again, I'd like to ask for a motion of approval to do an administrative transfer to transfer Laura DeShazo to Riverview Junior High School as the assistant principal effective July 1, 2020.
Okay, we have a motion to transfer administrative personnel.
I think it's critical that Laura is going to move to Riverview, and it will be in her best.
So I move that we approve the transfer of Mrs. Chase.
I have a motion to approve transfer.
I second that.
Okay, any further discussion?
Early would be a great mentor to her, so I think that's a good.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion so passes.
Great, thank you. And thank you, Principal Kaufman, for being here this evening as we've done that appointment. We appreciate it.
Thanks for being patient.
Next item is the approval of the 2021-2022 school land trust plans. So I would ask for any questions or feedback, and then President Cooper, I would ask for a motion from the board to approve our the plans.
And we can approve all of them.
We can approve all of them at the same time, but if there's any, I know each board member took a look at them, so if there's any questions or if we want to go through any of them, I'm happy to do that.
I have one just small question, and it might be for the back row. Pathways to progress on park sites.
Yeah, pathways to, do you want me to come?
Yeah, would you come up? Thank you. It's just one I had never heard of.
Yeah.
I have a really quick thing. This was not the state layout, right? This was our created layout. The state wasn't writing. Is that correct?
No, this is the new state layout. So they transferred them all over. Yes, the state did it this year. They transferred them all. Yes, they got them done really.
I thought that it was
much better, right?
Yeah.
better than
They cleared and cleaned it up so well.
I thought it was Jen. I was like, Jen.
So Pathways of Progress is linked to our DIBELS data, which is now Acadians. So instead of having, it used to be 90%, like we wanted 90% of our students to reach proficient or above. They've now changed that formula, kind of like they changed that moving target for RISE and stuff. They did the same thing, and it's actually a better measure, but it's Pathways of Progress where they take a group of students, so like they take the beginning of year assessment, and then wherever that student scores, then they say, of students that are like them, that score like them, what is the typical growth pattern of that group of students? And if they have that same pathway, we want them to make that typical or better pathway. So that's how the state measures our progress now. So we are now required to have 60% of our students making typical or better pathway. So a student might score in red and they'll never, I don't want to say that,
Right.
they often, I mean, going from red to a blue is a pretty big ask.
Make progress without being that.
Yeah, but if they're gonna make that typical progress within their kind of band,
Okay.
then we get kind of credit for that, so,
Well, I remember actually going to a training with you, and we're like, somewhere,
yeah.
we need to get credit for progress.
For progress, and so that's how the state kind of managed to do that, so that you're gonna hear Pathways of Progress far more often than you're gonna hear proficiency. So you probably saw that a lot in the plans as well, so I'm glad that you asked that.
Thank you. Okay, so matter of discussion. All in favor of approving the school land trust plans?
So Laura has not had a chance to review hers. So can we approve without those being reviewed, or because you have reviewed them?
We can, as long as the board feels okay with that, we can. It's up to you as a board if you want to.
Are you okay with that?
Okay. So all in favor?
We don't have a motion.
Yeah, no motion. But we have a motion.
I move that we approve the 2021-2022 school land trust plans.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So passed.
Thank you. I will forward those tomorrow to the School Land Trust Administration, where they will go for their review.
And tell them not to change the format.
I will, and I will give them that feedback that you appreciated the layout. They did do a lot of, we appreciated it too. It has become much easier for that.
And I should have asked this question because I had Murray High, a lot of their goals were on the ACT, increasing the percentage of ACT. And it did have 2020 numbers in here. Do we have 2020 numbers for? I guess we would be wanting 2021 numbers, right?
And they won't have those for a bit, like.
Because what year are we?
Yeah, we're in 2021, so they don't have all the ACT information back.
I was just interested, okay.
We usually get that in the summertime is when we get that data, so.
Because it did have numbers for 2021.
Right, we're kind of a year behind in things with that, so that's a great question. All right, next, I would like to ask for emotional support from the board for our plans or our suggestions as we move into the 2021-2022 school year. The first one we have already taken care of through the calendar approval, but I do want to, we'd like to get the schedule out. We would propose that those half days on the first week of school, our elementary go until 1 p.m., our junior high schools go till 12:10 p.m., and our high school go until 12 p.m. So that will be that for the schedule for the first week of school. Moving forward, we would like to move school instruction hours back to pre-pandemic times. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, elementary would be 8:35 to 3:15. Junior high schools would be 7:55 to 2:40. And our high schools would be 7:50 to 2:30. The Wednesday schedule will also return to pre-pandemic, which is elementary out at 1:15. Junior high school's out at 1:50 and the high school out at 2 p.m. We'd like to propose that the learning options for our students, for our secondary students, we will offer both an in-person and a fully online option. For our elementary, we'll also offer in-person and a fully online option. We would like to no longer offer hybrid. That was a great thing for us to do this year to bridge the COVID needs. However, that was an incredibly big lift on our teachers. Student attendance and attendance policy. We do have the attendance policy that Darren has presented. We would like to resume regular attendance being taken with our in-person students with the codes that were pre-pandemic. We will follow the attendance policy and we will resume citizenship, the citizenship policy. The citizenship policy was put on, we did a pause for 1 year. The board voted on that again to get us through the pandemic year. School safety, we would like to continue to have our outside doors locked at all of our school entrances to ensure a safe school for our students and our employees. We will also have the doors at the district office locked. Again, with knowing that we have made a substantial investment in the doorbells and the camera systems so that we can be responsive to our public that wants to come in. For school functions, we would like to resume assemblies, back to school nights, family nights, field trips, volunteers and visitors in our schools, with following whatever protocols are in place at the time regarding public health. We would also like to reopen the Nature Center for next year and resume our 7th grade day for our junior high schools on August 13th. For parent-teacher conferences, we would like to take the best of what we've learned during the pandemic and offer both online and in-person options for parent-teacher conferences to better meet the needs of our families. And then the last one is we have already taken care of that through the calendar, which was the teacher work days. So this is our proposal, kind of our framework to get going on the 2021-2022 school year. And again, I would ask Board President Cooper for a motion of support for this plan.
Okay. Any questions prior to?
I have a question.
Do we have a contingency plan on our COVID protocols into the next school year? With like, we want to go back to regular attendance and citizenship, but if we have students or families or teachers or, you know, an outbreak of sorts, if that's going to now apply to those, or if it'll be the same as any other illness here, or like flu or whatever.
Yes, so maybe a way I can answer that is the state public health as well as the Salt Lake County Health Department. We've asked that question several times, kind of what are the protocols moving in? It's my understanding that the COVID-19 school manual will be updated from the Utah Department of Health, and that we will continue to, it will be a guideline, but a strong recommendation to follow what's in there. And so they are working to update that. They don't have an estimated time when that will be, but they have told us it will be before the school year begins. Because that's a question, that's a great question, board member me. We are all kind of asking, what does that look like? I do think that, you know, we, just like we have been this year, we are going to need to probably be flexible and see how things go. Absolutely. Great question. Does that answer?
Yeah, that answers my question. I
Okay.
just want to make sure that there will be something in place.
Right.
For any
Like,
situation like that.
Right. I can't let you know that for summer school, we are still going to be doing the contact tracing. However, it will be done by Salt Lake County Health Department. And so we did meet with the health department on Tuesday as superintendents, and we all have a point of contact. And so we will be continuing contact tracing if there needs to be quarantines, but that will all be done through the county health department. They will be making those calls to families and then notifying our summer school principals and teachers as if there is a positive case. Sorry, that kind of was a start.
We have like a 45-page document last year, now it's 2 pages.
Yeah, we really kind of pared it down, so.
Things have changed. All right, do I have a motion of support?
I know that we support the 1T122 school year plan, is that what it was?
Yes, there you go.
We have a motion to support the 2021 school year plan. Do I have a second?
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
All right, thank you. I will work with Doug Perry and we will get that information sent out and on our website and information, because it sounds like you are getting questions asked and we want to make sure our families know kind of where we're headed for next year. So, and with that, I would like to ask that we go into closed session after a 5-minute break to discuss personnel and property.
take a poll board, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Yes.
Close? Poll, okay, let's go and close. Okay, we will now proceed to closed session following a 15-minute recess.
All right, and I actually don't need anyone to stay tonight, so. I know, you're all free.
You need to stay.
Yeah, but you're always.
It's the year of the drought, so it's.
Thanks, guys. See you guys.